Hey there, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you are doing well and keeping safe, keeping warm if you're in the areas of this winter storm that's going on right now. It's the day of this uploading, and also prayers to those who are affected by the LA fires. I actually did a video earlier today. If you haven't gotten a chance to check it out, please do so after this one. There's information and resources and stuff that I wanted to share that I had found in order to, provide to you guys for help if you were interested in, other areas and sources to find ways to donate for the victims in the situation that's going with the LA fires in California. So there's information that's provided in the description area as well, that video. And I also will have a post. If it's not up at this moment, it will be up with the same information as another area for the information to be provided as well. So definitely, please make sure you check that out if you are so interested and inclined to do so. And now for this video, oh my goodness, talk about the backlash heard around the world. Wow, 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 wow. I was kind of surprised when I came across the stories in regards to this situation, because I really thought that after the unfortunate situation had took place back in December of 2022, that we were not going to hear much more about it, since it was so tight-lipped at the time. And that is of the devastating unaliving that Twitch boss, who was very beloved, enacted on. And it was such a horrible situation to hear when it happened. Very devastating. So many fans, so many people who absolutely adore Twitch, and we were just all so shocked to hear this. And then of course it was around the holiday times as well, and that just adds extra, to the trauma that was associated with that. And there was a lot of stuff going on about that situation, as far as people really wanting to know, just out of the curiosity of being his fans and him being so beloved, what happened? Why does something like this happen to someone who was just of age of 40, who appeared to be jovial at most times, always happy, always smiling, always dancing, right? That was a huge part of his professional life, is dancing. He was on So You Think You Can Dance. I did not actually watch that show or series. I don't even know if it's still on now, but I know that it was pretty popular at the time that it used to air. And he was very much a prominent person on that show, along with his then soon to be wife, now widower, Allison Holker. And so a lot of people wanted answers, naturally, because it was just such a devastating thing. They have young children, and we just didn't understand that, you could see someone just TikTok dancing every day. You would see all kinds of footage with him and his wife, and some with the children, always seem to have a good time. And then you hear such devastating news. And it just goes to show you that you never know what people are really dealing with. Now, that being said, there seems to be quite a bit of backlash, and you may have heard or you may not have. So I wanted to bring that and share this with you guys, get your thoughts, your opinions, kind of bring you up to date what's going on. And as there is so many areas in which backlash occurred, we're going to go through each one of them, and then I'm going to give a nice little synopsis of my thoughts and my opinions. And I most certainly want to know yours thoughtfully down below in the comment section. Let's talk about it. I don't know if there's much of a split. There are some people who feel one way, but there's a lot of people that feel another way. And I have my thoughts and feelings, and I'm going to be sharing that in this video as well too. And of course, considering what I may pull up and these sharings, I'm going to have to change some wording around just to make sure things stay YouTube friendly. So please keep that in mind as well. But again, this is such a shocking situation to even have unfolded, because as I shared earlier, a lot of information was not provided, and there was a lot of tight-lipped stuff going on as well. And so it then seems to be, a little bit perplexing to now. Nothing was said back then. Now, why are we talking about this and bringing up these types of things in regards to, this young man? So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's find out what was said. I'm going to go ahead and space it out to each one and where this comes from. So the first sharing, actually, which caught my attention, believe it or not, was RHOP's alum, Candice. If you remember Candice, yes, our girl Candice. Well, she actually has been RHOP for many weeks, and she's on I say hiatus, but she's basically stepped away from the show, had a new baby, and living her life. And then for her to pop out and have some very strong words and sentiment to Allison Holker and some of the things that she said about Twitch and how it was looking to damage his legacy, I had to find out what was going on. So that's where the sharing that I'm going to be providing will start with, and then we're just going to move down the list. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the first one again, and that is with Miss Candice and her feelings and thoughts in regards to what was shared about the words that Twitch's widow had shared. So now the source article here is coming from page 6. It says that Candice Dillard slammed Stephen Twitch boss widow Allison Holker for revealing late star's alleged addiction issues following his unaliving. Now, Candice Dillard is fuming over Allison Holker's decision to reveal her late husband Stephen Twitch boss alleged addiction issues. I'm not even going to say it, but this woman is doing everything for protecting her children and her husband's legacy, the Real Housewives of Potomac alum posted on X this past Tuesday. Now, Dillard, 38, argued that Holker could have kept this in her therapist's office, adding SMH, smacking my head. Now, the former Bravo Levity upload was accompanied by a link to Holker's interview with People, which had just been published. Now, Holker, 36, claimed to the magazine she found a cornucopia of drugs, including mushrooms, pills, and other substances she had to look up on her phone, hidden inside shoeboxes shortly after Boss' December 2022 death by unaliving at the age of 40. I was with one of my really dear friends, and we were cleaning out the closet and picking out an outfit for him for the funeral. The So You Think You Can Dance alum recalled. It was really a triggering moment for me because there were a lot of things I discovered in our closet that I did not know existed. It was very alarming to me to learn that there was so much happening that I had no clue about. Now, while it was a really scary moment to figure out, Holker said it also helped her process what the fellow SYTYCD, which is So You Think You Can Dance, alum might have been going through. He was hiding so much, and there must have been a lot of shame in that. Hypothesizing the mom of 3 who shared daughter Wesley, 16, whom Boss adopted, son Maddox, 8, and daughter Zaya, 5, with the former Ellen DeGeneres show DJ. Holker thought she and Boss had a very honest communication between the two of them, noting that she knew he smoked the Mary Jane and drank alcohol in their guest house after the kids went to bed. That was his alone time. It was his time to recharge, and that was okay, she told People, going on to claim that Boss alluded to being abused by a male figure during his childhood in several of his journal entries. He was wrestling with a lot inside himself, and he was trying to self-medicate and cope with all those feelings because he didn't want to put it on anyone because he loved everyone so much, she speculated. He didn't want other people to take on his pain. Now, Holker had claimed Boss was acting withdrawn, showering less frequently, and smoking morning and night leading up to his passing. But he was apparently very careful about his wording with her. She explained that reading his journal entries after his passing helped her feel a lot of empathy towards him and sadness for all the pain that he was holding. Holker, who will go into more detail in her forthcoming memoir, This Far, My Story of Love, Loss, and Embracing the Light, insisted she was publicizing Boss' struggles in the hopes that people dealing with the same thing will help themselves out of the shadows and know you're going to be okay. Now, Boss took his life via a pow wound to the head inside a motel room close to his family Los Angeles home. He was laid to rest in January of 2023. And let it also be noted that if you or someone you know is affected by any of the issues raised in this story, call the SA Service Helpline, Substance Abuse, SASH at 844-804-7500. And if you or someone you know is affected by any of the issues raised in the story, call or text the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988. I will have that information provided down in the description area as well for reference as well. So that was what kicked off this continuing backlash, in which it appeared that Allison had wanted to share that she had came across some things that made a connection for her to have an understanding as to why things turned the way they did. And at the same time, sharing that she did not know that there was as much as there was that he may have been suffering, him being tWITCH. So let's keep that in mind in that particular part. And we're going to move on to part 2, and definitely, throw in those comments that you have down respectfully below as we go along. If that's easier, I'm going to be doing the sum up like I just did here, and then giving my opinions, of course, at the end. So let's move on to the second part of the sharing. Now, this is coming from page 6 as well, and this is where it shares that Stephen tWITCH boss family blasts Allison Holker for airing out his alleged DRUG use and enforcing NDAs to attend the funeral. Now, Stephen tWITCH boss family and friends are blasting his wife, Allison Holker, for airing out his alleged DRUG use and for allegedly making them sign NDAs in order to attend the dancer's funeral. Shortly after Holker's interview with People dropped on Tuesday, in which she addressed her husband's tragic passing in 2022, one of boss cousin Elle took to X to defend her late family member. He wasn't an addict. He smoked weed and was actively trying to quit. He wasn't some junkie, she tweeted, adding that Holker has allegedly kept boss's 3 kids, Wesley 16, who boss adopted, Maddox 8, and Zaya 5, from seeing his relatives. I'm so tired of keeping my mouth shut. You did our family so dirty, she added in a separate tweet. There are some expletives in there as well, before alleging that Holker made boss family and friends sign NDAs to attend his funeral. Yeah, I don't care about an NDA. This crazy woman made me and his actual family, including his mother, sign an NDA just to even attend the funeral, Elle claimed. She's been trying to tarnish his legacy and refuses to let the boss family see the children, only to exploit and lie on my cousin. Absolutely not. Now, Courtney Ann Platt, a close friend of the former Ellen DeGeneres Show DJ Dancer, echoed Elle's comments in a lengthy Instagram post. This is by far the most tacky, classless, opportunistic act I have ever seen in my entire life, she wrote on Instagram, referring to Holker's latest interview with People, in which she promoted her forthcoming memoir, This Far, and in, the rest I shared. We all had to sign some weird NDA to attend his funeral. Even his own mother, who you've treated like garbage his entire time. And let's just remember, you wouldn't have even had a husband if it wasn't for her. Not to share anything or ruin his name as if that was on anyone's mind in the first place. And here you go and write a book with all the dirty laundry smearing his name and attempting to dim the bright, loyal, loving light that was your husband and my friend. Now, Platt, who claimed Holker dropped the boss's last name for her social media, or from her social media platforms 48 hours after he passed. Oh my goodness. She went on to slam the professional dancer for publishing a book, shamelessly sharing the pages of Boss's journal. What a joke. Yes, he took his own life, which is in fact all of us still can't fathom. And he was clearly having mental health issues, hurting so deeply. And this is your example of empathy, of your love, the former New York Knicks City dancer 36 added. This smear campaign for a buck is absolutely not what he would have ever wanted, no matter how bad he was hurting. Not for a second. You're a living, breathing bulldozer. Stick to your own demons. Shame on you, Allison. Shame on your money-hungry team. Let my friend rest in peace, not your PR. Boss's brothers reshared Platt's post on the Instagram stories. Boss's cousin Zachary Boss Silas also said he had to sign an NDA to attend the late star's funeral because Holker claimed it would protect his legacy. Now, Ryan Guzman, who co-starred in Step Up Revolution with Boss, also reacted to Holker's interview, writing on his Instagram stories that it made him sick to his stomach and that he felt the same way as Platt described in her lengthy caption. Now, Page 6 has reached out to Holker's rep for comment, but did not immediately hear back. The backlash for Holker came after her new interview was released, in which she revealed she found a cornucopia of DRUGS's hidden inside Boss's shoeboxes after his passing. She said she wanted to share the story in order to hopefully help save someone else's life down the line. Now, despite the backlash, some fans showed their support for Holker's candid interview on social media. One fan argued that it's wild Boss relatives are tearing Allison Holker down for speaking out about his alleged addiction. She's allowed to share what she's gone through and to do it so that she can be transparent and help others in the process, the Nielsen added. Another fan lauded the mom of three for being such a brave woman after Boss's passing. Now, the Magic Mike XXL star passed away by unaliving on December 13, 2022. And of course, he was 40 years old. And again, if you or someone you know was affected by any of these issues raised in this story, call or text the Suicide Crisis Lifeline at 988. Again, that information will also be provided in my description area below for you as well, if you should feel the need it or share it to anyone. So here we go. Now we've got the family members coming online as well, completely disgusted and blindsided from these accusations of information that was put out there, personal information apparently coming out there, with Allison sharing snippets of their of tWITCH's journal allegedly. So lots of hurt and angst involved in this as well. And then of course the NDA thing being one of the big emotions as well, that they had to actually sign NDA, to actually attend their family members' funerals. So lots of understanding in why someone would feel the way they would feel in regards to these actions. So let's go ahead and go into the next part of our sharing. And that is going to be, I believe, Allison responding to those accusations. Now, this article sharing is coming from 2fab.com, and it shares that Allison Holker responds to accusations she's disgracing tWITCH's name with a new interview and book. Now, Holker replied to a follower who commented this paycheck was not worth disgracing his name on a video from her new interview with People magazine. Now, Allison Holker responded to a follower who criticized her over a new interview she did about her late husband, Stephen tWITCH Boss, and dealing with the grief that came with his death by unaliving. Now, Holker is currently promoting her upcoming memoir, This Far, My Story of Love, Loss, and Embracing the Light, in which, per her publisher, she reveals how she has navigated the emotional and financial aftermath of Stephen's choice, guided three children in their grief while managing the outpouring from a well-meaning public, and reopened herself to the next chapter in her professional and personal life. Now, after sharing the video above from her cover story with People magazine on Tuesday to her own Instagram page, one of her followers commented, "This whole thing made me sad. He's gone. Why tear apart this name? I was fully supportive about you moving in and being happy," or moving on, I think that's what they meant, "and being happy, but this paycheck was not worth disgracing his name." Holker responded to the comment, writing, "I'll always love you, just trying to help people feel safe to ask for help and support." The fan followed up by saying, "I imagine it can't be easy going through what you've been through. There will be a lot of hate thrown your way, but it's not for me to judge, splice a difficult situation." They then apologized for jumping to conclusions. Obviously, there's some communication between this person and Allison. Now, in the video, Holker encouraged others to seek help while dealing with trauma. "I've had some major blows as I'm trying to figure this out and navigate this myself, and I'm very scared to ask for help. And I'm learning how much strength it actually shows when you decide to stand up for yourself and ask for help and finally lean on someone," she explained. "I know for me, for the last 2 years, I felt like I wanted to get my kids through everything. I wanted to get my family through everything. And I wanted to get all my friends and all the fans and all these people that loved our family so much. I wanted to make sure I could carry them and get them through it," she continued. "And then I realized, well, wait, I haven't taken a moment to also heal myself. And so it's like I'm learning that what he experienced, I want to be an example of now and show other people they can do it." Though not mentioned in the video above, Holker has been making headlines for other comments she made in her wide-ranging interview with the publication, specifically for describing the moment she allegedly found a stash of DRUGS's hidden in their closet while selecting an outfit for her husband's funeral following his death. Now, the pro dancer says she found the DRUGSs, and we already listed the types that she said she found. Now, she says it was a very triggering moment for me because there were a lot of things I discovered in our closet that I did not know existed. It was very alarming to me to learn that there was so much happening that I had no clue about. She continued, I was really scary. It was a really scary moment in my life to figure that out, but it also helped me process that he was going through so much and he was hiding so much. And there must have been a lot of shame in that. Now, speaking more generally, she told people, it really hurts me that Stephen held everything in for as long as he did. He has always so strong for everyone. He was always so strong for everyone. It's important for me to share the truth to make things easy for someone else. She also told the outlet, I want someone that maybe is struggling with their own mental health and having questions of if they want to take themselves to the other side. Don't do it because you're going to affect way more people than you ever knew. If you just ask for help, someone could help you find the light again. A boss, she added, I wish he would have felt comfortable asking for help, wanting to go to therapy and talk to his friends or loved ones. This far, my story of love, loss, and embracing the light comes out February 4th from Harper Select and is available for pre-order now wherever books are sold. And if you or someone you know is struggling with depression or has had thoughts of harming yourselves or taking their own life, get help. The National Suicide Prevention Hotline or Lifeline, 1-800-273-8255, provides 24/7 free confidential support for people in distress. I will again have that information provided in the description area as well. So in this portion of the sharing, we've got Allison's response. She's, basically backing up for herself the reason why she did it. She wanted to help others. That can be commendable to want to help individuals, but the question is, were these details so necessary to put out there to anyone for the world to see? Can simply you saying just that in the statement here that he may have been dealing with mental health issues, which apparently a lot of people did feel was a possibility, and just share that, where you can get help for the actual act of unaliving yourself versus giving the explicit details of what took him to do that. Because at the end of the day, no matter what the reason, if somebody chooses to do that as an action for whatever it is, you want to be able to get them to know that they can get help, and that when they go to these areas to get help, they can then talk to those confidential individuals, confidential situation to get the help that's specifically needed for what they are dealing with. But is this something that everybody in the world needs to know specifically about him? Because then the question is this really her true story to tell? Yes, she may have been affected by the situation, but was all these details for someone who is no longer here and able to speak for himself, should that necessarily been what was shared for the world to see and for a memoir? Now, I did say I wanted to share most of my opinions and my thoughts after all the sharings, but here we are. I've got my thoughts and feelings about it. So I'll hold on that, but definitely be dropping those comments down below as well. That makes it easier too to do from each one. So let's go ahead and move on to the next sharing, which is now the friends speak, or furthermore, the alum speak. And this is the alum from those of So You Think You Can Dance. So this also is coming from tofab.com. It shares that So You Think You Can Dance alum slammed Allison Holker for sharing disappointing, inappropriate details about TWITCH. Shame on you. Now, this smear campaign for a buck is absolutely not what we would have ever wanted. You're a living, breathing bulldozer, wrote Courtney Platt, referencing Holker, claiming she found a cornucopia of DRUGSs in their closet, while Chelsea Hightower says he shouldn't be reduced to his struggles. Now, taken to her Instagram story on Wednesday, Allison Holker had defended herself from her late husband's friends, family, and fans. She wrote that her only intention in writing her book was to share my own story as well as part of my life with Stephen to help other people. See, the issue is here, and I've got to stop it there. The issue is it's not about just your life, right? There's other people involved as well and affected as well. Just like you, I've never really knew what happened. And even as I am trying to put the pieces together, I will never really know. She continued saying her intention is to celebrate the love in life. And I shared with Stephen and our 3 beautiful children, and also the more complex aspects of both our lives. She also says she hoped her story could help others catch some red flags that I missed before it's too late. For Holker, all the proceeds from her book are going to a mental health organization she started in her late husband's honor, Move with Kindness. She says, I believe that if Stephen were able to choose, he would choose to have his story told if it meant saving even one life, she concluded. Much love to all those who have supported our family through these many years. Now, the original story that was prompted to this shares, So You Think You Can Dance alums are weighing in on Allison Holker's recent comments about her late husband, Stephen Twitch Boss, while promoting her upcoming memoir. Now, in an interview with People for its latest cover story, Holker had discussed her new book, opened up about how she allegedly discovered the RUGSs, when she discovered that, and at the time frame what was going on. She also says the Ellen DeGeneres show co-executive producer, as well as the So You Think You Can Dance alum and longtime DJ, had passed away by suicide, which we all know, at the age of 40 in December 2022. Now, after her interview began circulating online, including Holker herself sharing a clip on social media, several So You Think You Can Dance stars had called her out on social media, slamming the fellow professional dancer. Let's see. Courtney Ann Platt, who reportedly was a longtime friend of Boss and Holker and appeared alongside the former on season 4 of So You Think You Can Dance, went off on Holker in an Instagram post referencing people interviewed with that her featured the headline, Stephen Twitch Boss widow Allison Holker discovered his addiction in a very scary moment before the funeral. In a lengthy caption, Platt criticized Holker over her comments, and seemingly her deciding to write a memoir at all, calling her actions by far the most tacky, classless, opportunistic act she's ever seen. Anyone who knows me knows I go straight to the source during a conflict and handle my business. But since there's clearly no shame in being so public, I haven't said a word in 2 years, but here I go, Platt began in her message. I was there the moment you both connected. I was there the day you got engaged. I stood by your side on your wedding day. I was in your home the day he passed away. I was by your side because your husband was my friend, she claimed. It didn't matter how often we spoke, how often we saw each other. We were bonded forever. Platt continued, this is by far, again, the most tacky, classless, opportunistic act that she's ever seen in her entire life. We all had to sign some weird NDA to attend his funeral, even his own mother, who you've treated like garbage this entire time. And let's just remember, you wouldn't have even had a husband if it wasn't for her. Not to share anything or ruin his name, as if that was on anyone's mind in the first place. And here you go and write a book with all the dirty laundry, smearing his name and attempting to dim the bright, loyal, loving light that was your husband, my friend. Whether any of it is true or not is actually beside the point. She also accused Holker of removing her married last name from her social media profiles 2 days after Boss passed. This is how you protect the Boss name you so quickly dropped on your social media platforms 48 hours after he passed, his legacy. This is how you protect his children from any further humiliation, hurt, and despair. Platt added to Holker, who shared kids, Wesley, Maddox, and Zaya. This is what you want them to remember about him. She then blasted Holker for allegedly moving on, living her life, and getting on every carpet she can get on, every celebrity row she can sit in, and every magazine she can be in. And you needed to do this. Get a journal, a therapist, and a friend. But publishing a book, shamelessly sharing the pages of your husband's journal, Platt said, People magazine, what a joke. Platt concluded her post by accusing Holker of launching a smear campaign of her husband. Yes, he took his own life, which is in fact all of us still can't fathom, and he was clearly having mental health issues, hurting so deeply, and this is your example of empathy, of your love, she wrote. The smear campaign for a buck is absolutely not what he would have ever wanted, no matter how bad he was hurting, not for a second. You're living, breathing bulldozer. Stick to your own demons. Shame on you, Allison. Shame on you, your money-hungry team. And let my friend rest in peace, not your PR. Now, apparently, Chelsea Hightower, who also appeared on Boss's season of So You Think You Can Dance, backed up Platt's words taken to her Instagram story. Alongside a screenshot of Platt's post, Hightower wrote, I've known Allison since I was an early teen, and seeing her choose to share such deeply personal details about tWITCH's struggles feels so disappointing and inappropriate. tWITCH was an incredibly kind and loving man who always looked out for others, making everyone feel included and valued, including myself. He deserves to be remembered for the light he brought into this world, not reduced to his struggles. R.I. actually peace. Rest in peace. At Sir Twitch, a lot, you are missed and loved by so many. She continued in her statement, adding that she shared Platt's words because I feel they speak to the heart of the situation. Meanwhile, season 7, So You Think You Could Dance winner Lauren Frotterman also posted on Platt's Instagram post of her Instagram stories. She says, I haven't said so much because I struggle with knowing whether it's my place or not, but this is just not the way to go about things. Broadmoor wrote, Stephen Twitch Boss was loved by so many and my heart is broken with how things have unfolded. And this just feels cruel and wrong on so many levels. Thank you, Courtney, for speaking up and giving me the courage to echo that I do not support this. Twitch, you are still a light to so many, and we love and miss you dearly, she concluded. This comes as one of Boss's cousins, Ariel, has been slamming Holker online following her interview with People, going off on Holker on X, formerly Twitter. Yeah, I don't give a you-know-what about an NDA. This crazy woman made me and actual family, and I think I shared this in the earlier part of the sharing, but basically they're talking about the fact of why they had to sign NDAs and they're not, keeping from speaking now. As for Holker, while she has yet to address the widespread criticism, which we did get a little bit in the last sharing, she responded to followers who criticized her interview with People, basically sharing what I've already covered. And the last sharing is the fact that she wanted to do this in support of helping others see the red flags and all those types of things. After sharing the video above from her cover story, the People magazine, on Tuesday to her own Instagram page, one of her followers had commented, this whole thing made me sad. He's gone. Why tear apart his name? I was full of support about you moving on and being happy, and this paycheck was not worth disgracing his name. Holker had apparently responded and went into those details in the last sharing as well. Holker also reshared another post from a fan defending her from the backlash. So let's get into that. It says that the fact that people are tearing Holker down, especially people that were supposed to be in her corner, former colleagues, friends, some of her late husband's family, when she has slowly started to work out the events of the last 2 years and is hoping to share her story to help others as well, the fan wrote. She's allowed to share what she's gone through and to do it so that she can be transparent and help others in the process. They continue. Allison, I hope that you know that even though there is some emotional hate coming at you, that there are so many more that love you and your honesty and vulnerability. And of course, there's information there, and I'll be providing that for any of you that may want the information for the prevention hotline, and I will definitely have that down in the description area as well. So yeah, again, more backlash from now people who work with them, who not only just work with them on the show, but also friends with them and feel a certain kind of way about the details of the information that was shared. So let's go ahead and go on to the next sharing. And this is of his mother, which was extremely heartbreaking for me. I mean, all of them were just devastating to hear, right? All of the responses, you could feel the hurt, you could feel the pain in the words that were shared. And then his mom, the one who gave birth to him, the one who brought him into this world, just makes me sad. It really does. So let's go ahead and check in to see what she had to say about these words. Now, this is actually coming from the Shade Room, TSR. I'm sure y'all are very familiar with the Shade Room. And basically, I guess, provided an update to an article they had previously shared. So it says, Stephen Twitch, Boss mother, releases statement in response to Allison Holker's hurtful claims. Now, Connie Boss Alexander, the mother of late Stephen Twitch Boss, has released a statement in response to the hurtful claims recently shared about her son by his widow, Allison Holker. Stephen Twitch Boss' mother, Connie Boss Alexander, speaks out. On Thursday, January 9th, Connie Boss Alexander took to Instagram to share a lengthy statement in response to the hurtful claims made about her son. Alexander's statement also seemingly addresses the publication spreading untruths. So let's go ahead and get into it. She shares, our family is absolutely appalled by the misleading and hurtful claims made about my son, Stephen Boss. The recent publications spreading untruths about Stephen have crossed every line of decency, she wrote. As his mother, I will not let these accusations go unanswered. We will not stand by while his name and legacy are tarnished. He doesn't deserve this, and the kids don't deserve this. Furthermore, Alexandra explained that since her son's passing, she has remained quiet and away from public eye to protect her family. My primary focus has been on healing and attempting to remain connected to my grandchildren, she continued. But when I read these dreadful claims about my baby, our beloved Stephen, I realized I could not stay silent any longer. Ultimately, Alexandra concluded her statement by asserting that her family will ensure tWITCH's name and memory are protected and they defend his honor. Social media weighs in on her statement and Allison Holker's claim. Social media users immediately entered Alexandra's comment section to share their support and apparent thoughts on Allison Holker's recent allegations. So there's quite a few here. I'll go through some of them just so you can get an idea of what people were sharing in support of his mother. Now, Instagram at user with Dr. Spall wrote, standing with you through this. All you did, what you thought was right by trying to keep the peace. And she took your kindness for weakness. Stephen deserves dignity in death. While another Instagram user added, with you, mama, for him. Another Instagram user says his true fans are outraged by these false and ludicrous allegations. I'm sorry that as a mother, you have to listen and watch someone continue to tear down your son, whom you love so much and clearly love you with his whole heart. While another Instagram user shared, I am so sorry you and your family had to endure this. It was always something about her that just didn't sit right with me. You are a brave, strong woman and mother, because the day I have to sign an NDA for a child I brought into this world, they would just be getting me off of her. It's sad she's doing this for money, tarnishing his name and legacy. Even if he did these things, it's no one's business to expose. Another Instagram user shares, it was disgusting and trying to justify it as helping others is delusional. While another Instagram user says, we stand with you. Here's what prompted Stephen Twitch's boss's mother, Connie Boss Alexander, speak out against Allison Holker. Looks like it's pretty much about the same things that I've already shared, so I won't go through those again. Let's see. We've talked about how Candice Dillard had chimed in right away, and as Holker maintained her actions to help people feel safe and get help and supported. She also released another statement defending her decision, releasing an upcoming novel about her life. And that concludes that particular portion of the sharing. And that is the wrap up part. The last one of this particular situation. So, oh, wow. So much to cover, so much there. So just in addition to what I've already shared, it's very understandable that when you are in a situation such as this, which nobody would want to be part of this club, right? Nobody wants to be part of a situation where they are dealing with the loss of someone who makes the irreversible change an act of unaliving themselves. You're always going to be left with wondering what can have been done, what did I miss, what could have been helped for this person to not have gone that direction. And it's so unfortunate because there's so many people who do deal with this type of action taking place. Lots of people have had to endure the traumatic situation in which someone takes their own life. And there's so many unanswered questions. For the most part, it's what you hear a lot of. And, I remember when this came out, as I shared earlier, and there was a lot of, hush around the situation. And to be fair, I felt like that's fine. Right. Of course, we wanted to know what could make this situation happen, but did we really need all of the nitty gritty details and assumptions from what someone else could have said versus even what was, the individual themselves, because he's no longer here to speak for himself. He's no longer here to verify. So everything is kind of just, your synopsis, your theory, your thoughts of what it could have been. And you could be close, you could be off base, who knows, right? The person's not here to justify or not justify or speak on or share their story as to what the situation is. And so I can understand why people feel a certain kind of way with one, sharing such deep details, and then also to then creating a book, even if it's for the situation of using the funds to go, I guess at this point, totally 100% to the foundation that was established. I wonder, was all these particular details so necessary to put in, regardless if it was your life or not, right? So I definitely understand how people can feel this way. I mean, it is absolutely devastating to be going through something of this magnitude. And, this is someone who we all, if you're a fan or you knew of him, you saw him pretty much the same way all the time. And he seemed like a really nice guy. And he seemed like, someone with a really good heart. And then when I started to hear about some of the things that he was getting involved in and doing, he really seemed to be of the people kind of individual and found ways to give back and all of these things. And so it was just so disheartening to hear that. And of course, again, me personally, I felt, she doesn't want to speak on it. She doesn't want to share any details. Fine. Don't share any details, because at the end of the day, you want to keep that closed. So then to come back 2 years later and then share all these details that I don't know, was anybody really asking for anymore? I mean, even if you are asking for it, not everything is made for publication. And I wonder if this could have been handled differently. And I would say, for me, in my not so humble opinion, yes. I mean, I don't think the details of all of these things was necessary for all of us to know. The man is gone. And I mean, at the end of the day, I think just having a foundation with his name attached and in memory of, and, this is for in support of, would be all you needed for people to be able to share their, donations to the cause, because of the kind of person he was, for the way that he seemed to be when he was with us, for the joy that he brought into many people's homes, viewers' homes, through the Ellen DeGeneres show. He was a fun-loving DJ guy. He was one of the reasons why I watched the Ellen DeGeneres show. And, of course, she has some great guests on there as well, but he was the hype man, right? He really made you feel like this was the place to be. And I thought he was such a joy. So, that alone would have been enough to get, funds for a foundation. Telling all these salacious details of a life that really is no one's business, I don't know if that really was the right way to go. And again, in my not so humble opinion, I would say, no, I don't think it was the right way to go. But, she is his widow, was his wife, mother of his children. And at the end of the day, this calls into the thought of, you always do, for sure. I mean, I don't know what the arrangements they had as a couple. I don't know what kind of estrangement he had from his family, if he had estrangement from his family. All these things are alleged because, he's not here to confirm. There's nothing here to do that. Was it necessary to know about some of those things? Has he been in a situation where he's shared any of those before? I don't think that he has. So if he hasn't, I don't know if that's something he necessarily wanted out in the open, especially without him having the ability to control that narrative. Some things need to just lay where they are. And so I can definitely understand the hurt and the dismay of his family and his friends and his close ones. And I don't think that's them being negative in any way towards her. They're reacting to the fact that they lost someone too. It wasn't just one person who lost somebody. They lost someone too. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going to come from this point on. It looks like the book is still set to come out. Whether she will make some adjustment or not, it may be too late to do it down the publication route. Maybe she may choose to yank it. Maybe she won't. I don't know. I would say continued prayers and thoughts to the family members and the friends and those who are affected by his passing. Continued prayers for them, as well as, continued thoughts of him resting in paradise, because at the end of the day, this is just so unfortunate to now we have this information. And did we really need this information? Did it really take this to get donations for any cause related to mental health? What difference does it make what the specific reason was? If you have a foundation and you want to set it out in the name of someone who was as pivotal as he was, that would be enough. And whatever actionable items associated with those situations for those individuals, let that be confidential to them. giving out resources for individuals who may find themselves in these predicaments or know someone that might be and want to share those. Let them be the determining factors of what comes out and doesn't come out. I know that sometimes people say, well, and yes, in some cases it is true that, you have a shared life, a shared existence with individuals. And sometimes, yes, that could be your story to tell as well. But was these particular details her story to tell? Was his alleged actions of abuse alleged? Was that her story to tell? You got to ask yourself, is everything need to be made for publication and for out in the ether? Maybe not. And it's just unfortunate. I do think of the children. I mean, there may be a point where they'll have a particular issue or concern about this. Now that this is out there, this is now known. I can see why people feel, that this is going to just tarnish his name, his legacy. And the bottom line is the man was in some sense of hurt and pain for whatever the situation is. And that's where the cause needs to stay, in my opinion. That's where the focus needs to stay, on being able to place people in directions of getting resources to them to help them through their situations, not to necessarily spread them around to everybody in the world. Now, if they themselves choose to speak on their situation and those specifics, then let that be what they do. But unfortunately, in this situation, we don't have that, right? Because he's not with us anymore. So the tragedy of this situation, it feels like this just kind of compounds that tragedy. Now, I do realize that some people will feel different, as you can hear in some of the commentary from different users. There were some that were supportive of what she was doing, some that felt that you were getting a lot of emotional hate. I wouldn't call that emotional hate. I would just call that emotion. Someone speaking up and sharing how they feel and how devastated they feel. You took it to the social media, you took it to the public, so they went and took it to the public too. And let's not even get started on these NDAs. What are we talking NDAs? So with that, I would love to know your thoughts. Of course, this is a very sensitive matter. So I definitely want to know how you're feeling, what you're thinking. Do you think this was a bridge too far? Do you think that this could have something that could have been kept to the vest? Was this something that the world needed to know? Is this something really needed in those distinct details in order to raise money and funds for someone who was already pivotal in the world, enough to know that just his name would have been enough? At least that's my thoughts. But yeah, I definitely would love to know your thoughts respectfully down below. And we can most certainly have a conversation about it. I do understand that there's, could be both sides to this coin. But definitely, oh my gosh, prayers to everyone affected, his fans, his family, close ones, whomever affected by his passing. Because this and all remains one of the most tragic things that happened in that year. It was just awful. And now through this, we're reliving that awfulness again, So may Twitch continue to rest in paradise. May healing be shared amongst all the family members, including Allison as well, his children, and his extended family, his mother, cousins, friends, everybody. Because this is just really, really sad. So with that, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking the time to take a listen. This just really just took me for a loop because I didn't know what was going on. And I knew when Candice got herself involved and sharing something, there must have been something going on. And so then to see all of this, I was just like, wow, really? So yeah, but thank you again for taking the time to take a listen, take a watch. Definitely, again, leave your thoughts below. And of course, I will leave all of the information that was associated with any contact and resource information that was provided in these sharings for anyone that you should feel that, you know anyone, or you yourself may be experiencing anything that's like an associated or period and need someone to talk to, need resources for that, that will be provided in the description area below as well, that you most certainly can take for yourself. or share to whoever. Okay. So with that, thank you again so much for being here. If you are new here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you here. I would love for you to be part of the family, part of the community. Thank you again so much for listening. And yeah, I'm going to wrap it up for this video. I do have another video that's going to be coming on later on this evening. So definitely make sure that you have your all notification bells on so that you do not miss that video, and that you, share your thoughts. Well, and don't forget about the video that I did earlier today that has information and resources in regards to the tragedy and travesty that's going on currently right now with the LA fires. So with that, again, take care, be blessed, and until next time, bye.